Legendary game in 1970. I believe you were a junior, right? You went into Tuscaloosa. That really changed college football in a lot of ways, but specifically because nobody in the SEC was playing any black football players. This is 48 years ago. This is in our lifetimes. Hard to believe, but you guys went in there and played a night game, September of 1970. Explain, if you can, describe the atmosphere.
The atmosphere was very tense. It was intense for two reasons. The one reason that we understood the most was that we were USC, the famed USC, going against the famed Alabama. So us young guys were thinking about primarily football and us going in and holding up our end of the bargain to make sure that when we left there, the name of USC and the football program of USC was still held high.
That's what you were thinking about before you got there.
That's what we were thinking about before we got there, while we got there. That was the ultimate goal. There was always an underlying feeling from the time that we found out that we were going to be going to Alabama of, isn't that where a lot of all this bad stuff is happening to African Americans and race and all those kind of things? And I think a lot of us maybe tried to even downplay it a little bit because we were young and we were focusing on football. But we could not downplay it once we arrived.
Why?
When we arrived in Alabama, we began to see the things that the horror stories that you heard about. Very poor living conditions, blacks not allowed to do certain things, still can't drink at the water fountain, and although there were still places and pockets
in 1970
in the South,
yeah, where
you needed to really stay in your place, and you could sense and feel that, and could sense and feel that from the community. They weren't even allowed to come to the game, so African Americans did not come inside the stadium to see that game.
Wait a minute, really?
No, African Americans did not come into the stadium to see that game.
See, I didn't even know that.
They were on the outside, and they watched from hilltops, and they cheered us on when we rode down. When the bus went down the streets, the streets were lined with African Americans, kind of rooting us on as if, a lot is riding on you guys coming down here. And then we began to sense the real value of us being there and the real value of us doing well.
Now, when you come out of the portal, what's that like? Into, I guess, Bryant-Denny Stadium, right?
You mean the stadium?
Whatever it is in
whatever the stadium. But it's like the tension of coming out and playing a big game, and then this other cloud, this other tension of this race issue there. Scowls, people calling names, the N-word, and niggers being said as you're coming out of the tunnel.
And you can hear this.
Nigger being said while you're on the playing field by some of the other players and those kind of things. So that kind of stuff was going on.
Some of the Alabama players?
During the process.
Wow.
During the process. Guys came back in the huddle and said, that guy just called me a nigger. Keep your head, I'm the quarterback, keep your head, we'll take care of it on the next play, Here, I'll give you a 22 blast. You guys double team down. Double team down on me and blow him off the other side of the field if you want to. So there was a game going on within the game, and fortunately for us, we went down at the right time. We had the right group of players together. Sam Cunningham had a tremendous game down there.
Over 200 yards rush.
So, and that was in like about 15 carries. So we come out of there with a 42-21. I think victory was the final score, something of that nature. And it's history. It's a very important part of history. It certainly advanced the African American cause in college sports. It opened up the door for African Americans to finally get into the SEC, and to this day, it's looked at as one of the historical benchmarks for advancing African Americans.
Next thing you know, Ozzie Newsome's playing in Alabama.
Right.
Not to mention now. Can you imagine Alabama without black players now?
No.
It sounds even preposterous.
No, very, very thankful and grateful to be a part of that historical event.